Hello and welcome to Go Talk episode 4, Live and Learn. I am your host Lumbertruck, and with me as always is my enigmatic sidekick David. How are you doing, sir?
Not too bad.
That's good. So our first 3 sessions of Go Talk, we started off talking about how to learn and how to teach. We spoke about improvement, different strategies for improvement. What are we talking about today?
Well, following up on the last couple of sessions about how to improve, one of the things that came up was people asking about the flashcards. It was mentioned a couple of times, and also how to actually go about using that concept and using techniques such as problem solving to improve.
Okay,
So this all follows on from that.
beautiful.
So yeah,
All right, so I assume when you say problem solving, I'm assuming we're talking about life and death.
we're talking about life and death, but
Life and
it
death.
can be other tactical situations. But basically, um, you're faced with a position and you want to tactically work out what's the best move.
Gotcha. All right, so we'll be talking about different techniques for that, or thought processes, or maybe are we focusing more on that side of things, or maybe the general approach to life and death problems from a discipline perspective as well, perhaps.
Yeah, all of those, and possibly how to use online sites for your flashcards.
Okay. I remember first starting with when I first started Go, they already had a wonderful site called goproblems.com.
hmm
What do you think of that site?
Um, I think they're fine. I have no particular preference for any site. I've used Sumo Go Hero a bit because it limits the number of problems that you can do, and it's got a lot. It's categorized them in different ways. Um, any problem site, any problem book is fine so long as you use it properly.
Got you. And
And
maybe what you just touched on then, the with the being limited in how many attempts you get, that seems like a really good point of the Tsumego Hero site. Because with Go problems, I remember it being very easy to just click till you find the right answer,
yeah,
and
or turn
eventually you
over
just
the
stumble
page and
upon it.
find the answer on the next page. Yeah,
Yeah, or with a book, even simpler. Yeah, oh, I haven't got it. Oh, yeah, I thought that was one of the things that it might have been, but I actually thought another thing as well, but I thought that one was correct. Yay, or something like that. It's very easy to sort of convince yourself that you got the right answer when you didn't, when all you have to do is flip the page.
and you also convince yourself that by looking at the answer, you'll remember it. And at the end of the day, when you sit down and play, it's you and your brain against your opponent and their brain.
Yep.
You don't have a magic um, a magic button to press that says, "Oh, look, show me the answer. Where should I play here?" You have to get it from your brain, and that's
Speaking of the answer, Lizzie version point 7 has just been released. So if anyone would like to check that out, probably GitHub would be the place to go get that, I imagine.
yeah.
Enjoy. There's some changes to the UI and not too much else, but at the same time, enjoy. If you want to click to get the answer, not the explanation, but the answer will be there for you.
And yeah, and the problem solving thing, the key issues if you're going to study reading are to practice. And we'll talk about various techniques and things, but really you need to practice. And practice means doing it regularly. So you do a few problems every day, or you allocate a certain period of time every day to solve the problems. So
Gotcha.
you've got a discipline to do it regularly. Um, you also need to read during your real games. A lot of people just look at the position and they don't read, they don't think, they don't give their brain a chance before their hand gets on the board. I'm one of them. Okay. um, but you need to read during the game. So if you when you're playing, use the skill that you're developing. Um, if you're looking at life and death problems, find somewhere that suits you. I don't care what the website is. I don't care what the books are, but find something that challenges you. don't just stick with the 10Q problems when you're 5Q, because you'll solve them in nothing flat and you'll think, oh, look, aren't I good? And the answer is
sensational, yeah.
So avoiding that situation. So something that challenges you. Look at other people's games. Look at what goes on in other people's games, and really don't play out the moves. Think it out. When you are playing a game, you can't say, "Oops, I made a mistake. Let me have that again." Well, you can.
Depends which club you go to.
Well, you can if you misclick, and you some clubs maybe they'll let you have a move back, but generally, that's not going to happen. You need to play correctly and accurately the first time, because your opponent's going to get pretty upset if you keep on wanting to take moves back. It's not a viable solution.
It's funny you mentioned that. I guess it's the opposite to that, but I remember with some people at the club, I notice people playing very fast, and I don't do this to players if I'm having a serious game, but if I'm having a teaching game, for example, and someone's playing very fast and they play a really silly move without thinking, I'll immediately take the stone off the board and put it back in their bowl, and then just stare at them. And they'll sort of go, oh, well, maybe I should have thought about that a bit more.
Yeah, I've had people put their own groups in Atari and things along those lines.
Yeah, and then you just pick the stone up, put it back, and just go. Look,
no. What I do is I give them my stone and say, where would you play now?
I didn't think of that. That's actually not bad.
Because then it goes, oh, okay, well, give me my stone back, and you can take your stone back, and we'll right.
Same approach, got it. So similar idea.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got to employ the brain cells. Critical, don't play out the situation. Work it out in your head. Now, that's the long-term aim. To start off with, I talked to Michael about this when he was...
Hi, Michael.
You, and he was saying, oh, I can't do it without playing out. But your target, your aim should be not to have to play it out.
Right, so you don't keep playing it out because you'll never not be able to do it if you keep doing it.
So maybe the first few times when you get the hang of it, yes, okay. Don't do it. Don't worry about it. But that's not your long-term aim. Your long-term aim is not to put the stone on the board, not to play the thing out, but to think about it. Use your brain.
Right.
So anyway, that's the practice side of it. But if you're solving a problem, there are some sort of fundamental things that you do. I mean, how do you start? If you've got a life and death problem, what do you start? How do you start looking at it?
The first thing I look for is I see how much space there is inside the group. And that actually only came up later in the time I started playing rather than earlier, because I remember seeing all of these bulky shapes in books where they had this collection of blobs of black stones they had in the books. And I didn't understand it at the time when I looked at it. I just went, yeah, well, okay, that's a bulky 5, that's a blob 4, empty triangle. And I just thought, okay, well, they're showing me shapes that aren't alive, but it didn't sink into my pea brain that if that shape were to exist inside a group, that means that group's dead. So that's the first thing I look for now.
Quite large. The shapes that you can get with the Japanese word for them is nakade. Those shapes, the internal shapes, can be quite large.
Yeah, they can. And so the first thing I look for is to see whether the internal shape is a dead or a living shape. If it is a dead shape and it's my turn, then I have the option of cordoning it off or sectioning it into 2 eyes, in which case I'm alive. If I'm looking to kill a group, then I look for the key point of the shape.
You keep that away from them. Yeah.
If it's more complicated than that, I look at either extending the boundaries of the group or constricting them. And lastly, any weak points in the shape.
Yeah. Okay. That's a fair way to go about it. Do you want to cut to that 6-point nakade shape?
It's up there. It's there for you, mate.
So this is a problem on Sumo Go Hero. I've got a number of different problems on Sumo Go Hero, but the key, what happened there? The key in this situation is to play on the J16 point, because that breaks the symmetry of the shape. The shape is a diagonal symmetry. And if you play directly in the middle here, which very kindly tells us is the correct move,
It's very nice of it.
then you're fine. You have a shape which is alive. If we just click the reset, what happened there? Come on, talk to me.
I think you blew it up a little bit. Oh, you put a new problem up. That's all.
I got a new problem because it was correct. What's going on here? 45. I want 45. Okay, so it's changed the colour of the stones. But interestingly, whilst this is a 6-point shape, you can break the symmetry also by playing in this diagram on M4 or also on L3.
Right.
Each one of them breaks the symmetry.
Right, there are actually other answers that are still correct.
Yes.
Ironically, with this shape, there will seem to be almost as many right answers as wrong answers. There are 3 points that actually are correct and 3 points that are wrong.
Yeah.
So you've got as many wrong and right answers, which is kind of interesting.
But the really the key point to the shape and the best point to play is this one.
Because you can see it makes your little rooms there, right?
Well, it makes you get the eyes, but there are no co-threats. There's no threat for your opponent to play inside to kill your group. If you play this move, then your opponent can play at L4 and you need to reply.
Or vice versa, the other spot.
Yeah. So those two become a symmetry thing. Whereas if you simply play in the middle, there are no co-threats. And this is the only correct answer in my view. The other two, while you live, isn't ideal because you've left it
worse. They're technically worse.
Yeah, but these all boil down. I'll show you another diagram.
Mm-hmm.
These all boil down to reducing an area so that it only has 1 point. So in this situation, white can kill by playing F19 because black has nowhere to go. If black plays in the middle, he separates the area into two.
Yeah.
And he makes the two eyes. So that becomes a key shape. And when black plays in the middle, we get the wonderful bells and whistles, and we're correct.
The text that says correct,
which is great. So
that little bang of dopamine in your head, making you feel good.
Yeah. So I'll go to one that's a bit more complicated.
There we go. General concept, I guess not concrete. Dwyron says make 2 rooms to deal with your corner being invaded, for example, or if you're invading, prevent them from making 2 rooms.
Yep.
Not that it helped me trying to kill David's corner the other day. Well, I'm sure it gave you guidance. It just didn't quite work.
So who was that?
That was Peter. You played Peter the other
day. Yeah. Peter very kindly helped me live. Very, very good thing.
He helped you change rooms.
I got a Seki in there. What's this one? That's not what. I've got 73 there for some reason. And this is 73. Okay, we'll forget that. That's wrong. Back to the collections.
See what else you can find. That's not the one you wanted.
No, that's not the one I wanted.
That's not the problem you're looking for.
So let's have a look at number 2 just on the list. We might as well do this because there's a number of them at the beginning. But again, this is a 3-point shape, and playing in the middle, breaking the area into 2. So you get your 2 rooms, the Eskimo house. Have I told that joke?
The Eskimo? No, I haven't. You haven't. I don't think you've told that one.
Eskimo's house. They build them up in the North Pole, and they have 2 rooms.
Okay.
And the front room's called the Ig.
Yeah, good. Well done.
Okay, so
for anyone who didn't get that, don't get him to draw the diagram.
Don't explain it.
No, I'm not going to explain
it. Explanation. Okay.
No.
So let's have a look at something else. And you talked about the boundaries. Now, in this position, white has very clearly one eye
Yep.
at G2,
Mm-hmm.
but in order to survive, he needs something more.
Yes. Needs another eye.
It needs another eye, and it's a fairly straightforward way to go about it. So if you're looking at the boundaries, the answer's straightforward, and you make your two eyes, and it's not a problem. So the first thing is looking at the boundaries and trying to figure out how you can reduce them, how you can take make the boundaries smaller.
If you were trying to kill, you mean?
Yeah, if you're trying to kill, you reduce. If you're trying to live, you're expanding. So the life and death side of it, very often the same move is right for both. So I'm going to try number 50.
Number 50, you say?
Number 50.
Surely they'll be getting more complicated by now.
This is life and death part 1.
Introductory set.
Yeah, introduction to life and death.
Okay, we will be getting more complicated soon, folks.
So this situation, this problem is, if black needs to make his eyes.
Ironically, either move works. He's got two answers, yeah.
So black can play here because white can't play at C1. It's a dame zamari. It's a lack of liberties. White can't capture his own two pieces. Equally, black can play here and also lives. And this is the better answer because
no co-threats.
There are four points in the group.
And no co-threats.
And no co-threats. So, well, the other one had a co-threat? Yeah, the other one had a co-threat because you've thrown at A1. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. So when you're looking at trying to solve the problem, you need to be aware of liberties. You need to be aware of shrinking the area. You've also got to look at dividing the area so that you can achieve things. Now, there was one in here. We go back and have a look, see whether they fixed it or not.
Fixed it, you say?
Yeah, because it was a bit of a problem, so to speak.
But they're all a problem. They're all problems.
They're all problems. We're going to look at number 125.
Don't know if I've looked at that one. 125. You're playing at home, folks.
Oh, they fixed it.
What was wrong with it?
There was no stone at M16.
So you just left.
So he just walked out. But this is good problem as well because this is the antithesis of making a Nakaday shape. If white wants to kill, all white needs to do is to make one of those shapes, one of the half a dozen
bulky shapes, yeah.
And to do it, white would play at P19. Equally, black can play here. Now, it's a correct answer. But if black plays again, he's only going to capture 3 stones. He can't make 2 eyes.
He's going to kill himself if he plays again.
He'll kill himself if he plays there. But equally, if white tries to play inside, white will give black a bent 4, which is a live shape. And filling the liberties on the outside makes any difference. So this lives in a Seki.
Dual life for those playing at home.
Yeah. That's what happened in the game with Peter and myself a couple of days ago. My group lived because he couldn't kill it, but unfortunately his group on the outside didn't quite make it. So my group sprang to life, the stones inside died, and the ones on the outside died.
That didn't go well.
That wasn't as good as it could have been.
No, it wasn't.
It's just those things. You've got to read out situations. You've got to try and work out the problems.
Gotcha.
So those become a problem. You also sometimes you get involved in fights. You're involved in battles between 2 different groups. Let's go back to collections, and we're going to go to.
How hard are we getting here?
We're going to go volume 3. Well, let's go to 4. Oh no. Go back. That's not the one I was going for.
Oh, there's a specific one we were looking at.
I've done. Oh, there we go. That'll be it.
They've actually got a Korean Problem Academy there. I wonder if that's the books that I actually got when I was over there.
Could have been. Could
That's
have
going to
been.
be fun going through those. I'm going to enjoy that.
So there are things we talked about making your shape live, and in this situation, Black's got a bit of trouble. If Black tries to make his eyes,
You're in trouble, dude.
he's in trouble. So that doesn't work. If he tries to play this way, then his 2 stones are going to be in Atari, and this is a terrible thing.
Or is it?
Black can prevent the 3-point Nakaday because White's now not got enough liberties.
Is it a liberty issue?
So it becomes a liberty issue. But if you simply approach this by saying, well, where are my eyes? Where's the boundary? The boundary is fuzzy along the edge. So the only real boundary is at S19.
You're going to die if you try that again if you're not careful.
Then you've got the other fuzzy boundary on the outside.
Yeah, you've got to be careful there.
Yeah. If Black plays this way, then White can kill him.
Yeah, you've lost some of your health there.
Yeah. So what you're trying to do with this is to avoid the R17. The R17 is a really powerful move for White because Black can't cut.
It's also when you're reading, being able to see the follow up afterwards.
Yeah, and that's one of the critical things. So what I would suggest people do, and there are lots of different tools for doing this, is to do a screen grab, or you could, in some instances, they have. No, it's not here. But in some instances, you can download the SGF file. So download the problem or print the problem.
The SGF file.
And then work it out. So that becomes your flashcard.
Right,
so
and that stops you from sort of cycling through without looking. Yeah.
It should do 2 things. What I'd suggest the first thing to do, and you can do it without printing or screen grab, is to have a board next to you. And to look at the position on the screen until you've got it in your memory. Now, this comes back to the visualization thing we were talking about.
Okay.
If you've got a position in your memory, if you can remember what the position is, then shrink the screen and set it up on the board next to you.
Right, so you're practicing your retention.
That's right. It's not just solving the problem. If you're solving a problem, you need to visualize what's going to happen. And the only way you can visualize it is to have that picture in your brain and then be able to put the stones down on the board. We're not AlphaGo. We're not, Lizzie. We can't work these things out by magic. We need to do something better than that. So the only way we can do it is by visualizing and making the position clear. So look at the position on the screen, put the stones down. To start off with, pull it back up on the screen and just check. Make sure you haven't made a mistake. But in the longer term, what you should be able to do is look at the screen, have a timer for 30 seconds or 15 seconds or something until you've got that position fixed in your brain, shrink it, put it down, and then work it out by looking at the board. Don't put any more stones on. If you're printing it, if you're saving them as images into a folder and you were doing the same thing, that's fine. But that really doesn't make your brain work from a positional retention point of view.
Gotcha.
So this is quite a straightforward situation. Once you spot what it's about and you look at the boundaries, this boundary is fuzzy, this boundary is fuzzy, which one do I protect? And you've only got a few moves
to read through.
And don't stop. I stopped when I was talking about it before at the Atari and said, oh dear, my stones are in Atari.
You didn't keep reading.
you've got to carry on reading. You absolutely have to carry on
So
reading.
you read right to the end of the sequence.
Yeah. So looking at another situation, and also based around the internal shapes, the Nakaday shapes.
Hmm.
I'm sure I pressed 854. Oh, there we go. Oh,
Got there eventually. I don't think that's the one you want.
that is the one I want. I'm waiting for it to change.
What do you mean change?
Because I think I thought I clicked 855, but it doesn't matter. So this is the one. So what do you do here? How do you actually try and attack this? And there's a lot of room around the outside for black. He seems to have a very large area.
This is the sort of problem I really struggle with for that reason.
So
I
I looked
have a
at
lot of
this.
trouble with these.
I looked at this and I know what I want to achieve, because I played this sort of situation in handicap games.
You want to make black cry.
I do. And I sneak up on black, because black will look at this and black will say, hey, it's okay, my stones are safe.
Uh-huh.
And you can play the moves around the outside. You can play this 1 point jump at N5. You can play an extra few moves on the outside. And black will look at this and think, I'm safe, I've got lots of room. But he hasn't. She hasn't. If you peep, then it's no good.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. So what you need to do is to leverage that weak point, but not directly. And what we're trying to do is to create a 5-point Nakaday shape in the corner.
Okay.
And the move to play is here. Because if black plays on the outside, now the stones in the corner, they're not so healthy. It's not going to let me do it, but if black plays at Q2,
you pull back.
The black stones are dead.
And it's just a basic Semego shape at that point.
That's correct. So if white plays at P2, black plays at Q2, white pulls back, there is that shape in the corner, that's the James Davis L group shape, it has one eye, and that's it. It doesn't anymore.
This is actually a really good time to ask this then. What was your thought process in reaching the P2 move?
My first reaction was, I would like to play at Q2 and have my opponent connect.
Yes.
But that's not going to, I recognised very quickly that wasn't going to work, because he was going to argue and play at P2.
So you thought, what happens if you play his move?
And so I then did exactly that. I said, my move failed. Where did he play? Let me think about that. And so the process I went through was pick a move. I picked my first brain reaction was, hey, look, I can peep at Q2.
Yeah, that was my first reaction as well.
And it didn't work. I saw it didn't work. So I then said, okay, take my move away. Let me play his move. So you read the position. You pick the move that you think is best, and then you try and find the strongest response to it.
And then you play that response as the first
You play
move
that
of your
response, and if that refutes what you did, then it's fine. You okay? We're out of here. This is not something that's I want to worry too much about. So pick a move, find the refutation. If that doesn't work, pick that move. And you may go through that several times. You may pick the move, and then there's a different move that's the refutation.
And you try that one.
And then you try that one. So you go through that process, replacing the moves.
So what do you do if you get into the Sudoku situation with the locked pairs, where you have the refutation, you play your move, and then there's the strongest response is the refutation. You then play the strongest response, and your move is the best refutation.
Yeah.
Then that's a bit annoying.
That is annoying. I totally agree. And what you're trying to do what I do in that situation is to dream.
Dream.
I know it sounds odd, but I look at it and say,
Dream. You heard it here first, folks.
what else? What else is there? What is there around that I could try that's a bit different that does something else? I don't have an example of that, but it's just you try and come up with something that will help you. Okay. Recognize that groups sometimes are alive.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
You may play the best moves that are possible, but they're still alive. You're given a clue in the Sumo Go problems, because in the Sumo Go problems, they're a problem and there should be an answer.
Yeah.
Whereas in a game, that's not the case.
Well, the other thing they tell you in Sumego problems, and you can't see because I've been stupid and cropped off the top of the screen, but they tell you white to kill, black to kill, no ko.
No ko, yes. Ko is a good one because generally you can get a ko. There's lots of different ways to get kos. This is again a different problem. We'll move on to the next one.
Right.
How do you deal with this? What do you do in this situation?
Well, I just found a nice sequence for white to live with my first idea. So obviously the first thing you're looking at is reducing the size. Well, funnily enough, the cut's the first thing I thought of, yeah.
Yeah, because it looks like it's the right thing to do.
But I don't... Okay. Oh no, now you go under and that's dead. Right.
This is looking at
the weak point.
Using a weakness, using a weakness. So we look at the boundaries on this thing and we can see that the boundaries are a bit fuzzy in both directions. But this move at 01 is a very strong move.
It's there for a porpoise.
Well, a lot of people ignore it. And they don't play that kind of move when they're playing a game. Now, this move, the 01 move, could be used to come into a territory, a white territory, or attack a white group that's on the right-hand side.
As in on the left-hand side of that black
group. Oh, sorry, the left-hand side. Yeah, sorry, the other right. And
okay.
At the same point, if white defends on that side, then you've got the opportunity to exploit the situation.
Yeah.
And often the key point is to cut. Often the key is, okay, how do I go about this? Now, white is getting shaped. White's definitely got an eye in the corner. We know that white's got an eye in the corner. There's nothing that black can do about that.
Nope.
But what it can do is cause problems. And at the end of it, black connects underneath because of that the move. Yeah. So this is an example of looking at cuts, looking at the weakness in your opponent's position. So we look at, first of all, the boundaries.
Then the weaknesses.
And then the weaknesses. And if the weaknesses may be either pointing at the cut, so in the diagram, and the one we have before, which will come up in a second.
Eventually.
This one.
They've changed the board colour.
They changed the orientation
and
as well.
And the board colour as well. Oh.
So in this one...
Just to make sure you remember it.
The correct peep doesn't... Well, it is. And the orientation of a problem is a big issue for some people. Recognising a shape the other way up can be a big problem. But in both of those situations, you've got a weakness. And what you've got to try and do is to utilise the weakness. So the placement at P18, which can come in either direction and cause trouble for white, in this case, and the other one where you just simply cut and then leverage that stone, become an important... Oh, sorry, that one. I didn't want to do that one.
We'll get there.
I want to do that one.
Oh, you don't like that problem?
No, I didn't. I missed it out for some reason.
All right. So where are we? Where are we at now? Well, black to live, no code.
Black's got to live, and the problem is that white stones look a lot stronger than blacks, but the fortunate thing is it's black's move.
Yeah.
So the natural thing is to take a liberty. But when white plays here, you've got a problem because your stone's going to be captured if you're not careful. And if you play here, white's going to Atari the stone, and then. But fortunately,
you can go under.
You can go under, and you shibori the shape. Now it's an interesting situation.
A squeeze.
Shibori's a squeeze. So you can squeeze the shape and capture those stones, and you've got plenty of room for eyes. You've got other eyes in the corner, and they all disappear. If you came back and played here, it's wrong because white can simply play at 0-3.
Your stones drop off first.
I think. Can you do that? Can you play S2? 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's his reading face, everyone.
Yep, that's it. So white can kill the other lot by playing at S2 because black needs to rescue the 2 on the outside. And then white can simply play at T2. He's got 5 liberties and black's got less.
Not 5 liberties. Hane, connect, throw-ins, 3 liberties, you'd call it.
Yeah. So this is quite a reasonable situation for white. White can play at S2 and kill the stones. So sacrificing the stone and squeezing your opponent will create the thing for you. So again, this is looking at weaknesses and how you actually exploit them. So the stones, you had a fight between 2 groups, and you're able to squeeze the 2 groups.
So this is in the Tsumego dictionary, but you'd almost call this more of a Tessuji problem.
Well, look, the Tessujis, the smart moves, Hangma, I think also.
Hangma's about the relationship between stones, specifically. Okay. So, for example, Hangma is a word specifically used in Korean, not in Chinese and Japanese. And it refers to the actual moves in relation to each other. So an iron pillar is a hangma, a 1-space jump, a 2-space jump, a knight's move. All those things are hangma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, we've got a Korean person in there. Let's see what he's saying. All right. I can read it, but I don't understand it.
Okay, fair enough. The next problem I picked a number in a row here that were interesting.
Hi, how you doing? Sorry, I'm saying hello to our wonderful guest. You're gone.
This is white to kill, no ko. It's fairly straightforward. I'm not going to worry about this one. What I want to get to is we'll go back to here.
Hello, foolish monk.
886. That one.
This one?
Yeah. So again, this is a fight between 2 groups. Mm-hmm. But what you're doing is this when you were? Is this the hangma you were talking about, or is this?
No, this isn't hangma.
Okay. So
this is a tombstone.
Yeah, and this is what's happening is if white connects, black can play at B1, and there are only 2 liberties on white and 3 on black. So again, this is exploiting, cutting, and separating groups, and making life very difficult for your opponent.
Right. So if this is not the sort of thing you're used to sort of seeing and finding in your games, you'd be essentially suggesting in these positions, well, look for the weaknesses around the stones and see what you can get out of them, right?
Yeah, and maybe you don't get the ideal thing to start off with. Maybe you don't get the death or the ko that you expect. But that's where coming back and analysing what you did in your own game later becomes important. So you look at the problem, you can't solve the problem. How do you go from there?
Gotcha.
So that's an important thing in this.
Sorry, I just had a terrible idea about playing a Tsumego drinking game.
Yeah, let me go back.
That's best left for another time, I think. Anyone who's ever tried that, feel free to DM me later.
Oh, this is no, it's like 870. I want. Sorry,
Wrong one again.
wrong one again. Pressing the wrong button.
All right, there are specific examples, folks. Method 2, David's madness, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've been through lots of problems, so
Just to find the right one.
Brain dead from a problem point of view.
This one?
This one. So white's got to live, and the two white stones are in Atari. You can't rescue them. There's nothing you can do. So you know it's a problem. So therefore, there's an answer.
Yes.
So white wants to be able to make two eyes. So if white plays here, it doesn't work.
No, he's deader than corduroy.
If he plays here,
all right.
then you'll end up with a co, which is incorrect.
But then you can swap the order of moves.
So if you play...
You're going to run out of lives, David.
No, it may do. Yeah. Okay. So the key thing here is Atari from the bottom.
And then throw in.
Well, you can in fact play here.
Right, then you get to, yeah.
Now you can throw in.
Available, yeah.
And you get Michael's favourite outcome.
Oh, the snapback. Hi, Michael. Yeah, there you go. So that in that case is understanding the weaknesses that allow you to do what you need to do.
Yeah. I just want to cover two more, 878.
You should Atari first. There's a comment in chat.
Not all the time.
Do you want to go this one? That's an interesting problem. White to live, is it?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, got it. Yeah, so that's not going to work.
No, I've run out of lives. I can't do this anymore.
It says try again tomorrow.
I'm just thinking. The pea brain went through it. I thought, let's show this one, and then I didn't realise I hadn't got any more lives left. Anyway, so if you just make your eye, then you just let your opponent play. The correct move is to play O2 first, because then when hitting black Ataris, white can then play at S2, and I can't show you any more problems. Maybe I can. I can't show you answers.
That's right. You just go to your account because you can't see the name of it anyway.
Okay.
All right. So we'll take that off and give David a minute to go back to his account because he's blown all his lives on the Tsumeco.
Sign out.
Oh, good.
Sign in.
That's all right. Your password is safe with me.
It's all dots. It always is. I never quite understand why that is.
Yeah, it's always all dots, but I find the length of it changes. Do you know if you type in your password, anywhere, your computer understands that it's your password and will actually block it out for you?
Only if you define the field as a password.
No, I'm just...
No, that's not it.
That's the one you just had. 78. 78. No, it was... pulling your leg, but I did actually try that on someone and found out his password was Hunter2.
878.
No, doesn't look like the one you're after.
No, it is. There we go.
There it is. It's just on the roof. Here we go. Sorry, folks.
So what you can do?
Yeah, it's a snapback. And then you throw back in.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you're playing underneath. It's an Ishinoshita playing underneath the stone.
Yeah, not sure what the level of the problems are, but in this case, what we've done is we've chosen a whole bunch of problems, and the idea is to demonstrate different different techniques. So we've got tombstones, we've got sacrifices, we've got nakare shapes, we've got under the stones like this. Just trying to show a whole range of things and how you'd approach them.
So the key thing when you're looking for the groups is push the area and try and divide it. If you can't divide it, is there a weakness? Can I cut? Can I divide my opponent's position and live or die that way? Can I kill them that way by separating it? That's the second thing to do. Look for points of symmetry. We talked very early on in the beginning about that 6-point nakade shape, the 6 points inside. It is a diagonal symmetry. If you can break the symmetry, then you can survive.
Right.
Was it part 1, life and death? Life and death, part 1.
I think it was just the first one, wasn't it?
No, it was 45.
There you go. That's a memory I don't possess.
Yeah.
So
you can break. You can look at symmetry. This is just diagonal symmetry. If you play here, this is vertical and horizontal symmetry, and you've not broken it. You've actually created it and enabled your opponent to take the center point.
Right. Any other move other than that one and
there's
the one at the bottom? Yeah, the one at the bottom.
Three that are correct, or three that are wrong. 1, 2, and 3, which break the symmetry, but each one of these leaves
dead shape.
A dead shape. So the key point, the K16, is the right thing. So look for points of symmetry. Sometimes a seki is the right way to survive. Sometimes it's the only way to survive. That you share the life. We had that bent 3 at the top earlier on.
Yeah, we did.
It's okay. And the next thing to consider, if you can't live at all, is to play a ko, is to fight a ko. Yep. So is a ko possible? A seki will lose you all the points, but that's it. Right. A ko is a fight for the point and the stones, and sometimes 2 lots of stones, because you may be fighting between 2 groups.
Right.
So from that point of view, a ko is worth a lot more than a seki. If you can get a ko, if you can kill in ko, it is better than making a seki.
Right, because the upside is a lot larger.
You can, if you gain half of the value of the stones and the territory, it's going to be more than just neutralizing the territory.
Yeah, makes sense.
Even if it's a 2-step ko. 2-step ko is worth, what do we agree, a third?
Oh, we were arguing whether it was a third or a quarter, yeah.
But yeah, I think a quarter. Okay. Because it's half of a half. You've got to win the ko twice. So a single ko is worth half the value. You can split it between the 2 players and say, 50-50 chance, that's fine. If it's a 2-step ko, then you've got to win the first half, and then you've got to win the second half as well. So
it's a 50-50 chance. A 50-50 chance of a 50-50 chance.
Yeah. So 2-step ko is that.
And just gets worse from there.
And it gets worse. So ko is better.
For if you're trying to kill, not
Correct.
If you're trying to live.
Yeah. And the final thing is that recognize that your group may be dead.
Don't die in Gote.
Don't die. Well, more importantly, work it out first. If you play 5 moves and they go, oh, look, it's dead, that's 5 ko threats, 5 really good ko threats you've just chucked away.
Mm.
So don't play it out. Work it out, because a dead group can have value. Stones sitting in your opponent's bowl, in their lid,
have no value.
Have no value.
Well, they do, but not to you.
Yeah, but you can't. You're going to reach over and threaten to take them out the bowl.
Well, at the clubs, that tends to happen because we're short of stones. We have to do a prisoner exchange if the game runs too long.
Yeah, you do the prisoner exchange. Yeah. So just going back over it. So a few things. So put this in context. Before you start to live and die, look at the whole board. Try and work out what's going on. So, okay, we accept that there's nothing else to do on the board. This is the focal area. But check that first, because there may be something bigger somewhere else. Assuming this is the important thing and this is what you have to do, look at the position, check the boundaries. Look at whether you can attack your opponent, whether you can push your opponent away and make yourself alive.
Yeah.
So if your opponent's got weaknesses, pick on them, do things to survive with them. If you can't, look for cutting points. So we check the boundaries, we've tried to escape, we've pushed against. Check to see if you can divide the territory or prevent it from being divided. If that doesn't work, points of symmetry. Look for symmetry in the position. So if the position is symmetrical, there's a proverb. If the position is symmetrical, play in the middle.
Play on the point of symmetry.
Yep. So that is a good thing to remember. Seki, having a neutral position, is a better outcome than death. So that, if you can't survive, can you actually make the position, can you neutralize the position and not lose your pieces? If you can't do that, then look to the ko. Now, there's a whole bunch of problems in here which you can turn into a ko. If you go through and look for them, they'll say to kill, no ko.
Yeah.
Those are there. They give you a big clue. I think we talked about it the other day. I have a book of problems which young Gil gave me.
Young Gil is a pro player.
Yep, that one.
Yep.
And I have in my brain young Gil's voice. I solved
no ko.
It's a ko, and he says, "No, it's not a ko, David." So
it's good like that.
But you've got to keep on trying. You've got to keep on reading. And the thing is, I know when I play a game, I will spend a minute maybe on a move. A lot of moves I'll play within 15 or 20 seconds. I get one of these problems and I can sit there for 5 minutes or 10 minutes trying to solve the problem. What am I missing in the game? About 4.5 minutes of reasonable thought.
No, but what you've there's one thing in the game that you don't have in the problem book. In the problem book, someone has taken a snapshot of a point in time and said, "This is a problem."
Yeah.
In the game, you're still. Oh no, my group's in trouble, and that's usually a few moves after the problem started at the point of the book as well. So
yeah.
After a minute, it's, oh well, easy come, easy go.
Yeah. So do that. That's the way to approach the problem. If you're looking for a move, pick the move that you first thought of. It doesn't matter how stupid.
Start somewhere.
Start somewhere. Then refute it. Then play the refutation. And if you land up going round in circles because there's two moves that are outside of each other, and you dream, you imagine something and you try and do it and that still doesn't work, the chances are the group's alive.
Probably.
So just keep that in mind. Keep that information in mind. You may be able to sneak an extra stoner. You may be able to put a ladder breaker in somewhere that impacts the fight that's going to happen on the other side of the board. But don't play it out, because if you eliminate those things and you don't kill.
Sorry, we just had a comment in chat. I play without thinking all of the time.
You lose a lot. You lose a lot, and you don't get better because it's your instinct. I think there's a brain that is not in your head; it's in your fingers. It is in your hand, because when you sit there and play Go, your hand's putting the pieces down on the board. There's no conscious, logical thought that's gone through your brain.
David, are you telling me that men that play Go have 3 brains?
I need 2. But in a way, it's like driving a car. You drive a car and you're driving home from somewhere or driving somewhere, and it's a route you've done all the time. You can get home and you have no thought about the traffic or the traffic lights or what cars were there. It's an automatic pilot.
I've got another. This is, speaking of which, we've got some more feedback. Games with David have taught me to slow down and read more. Don't worry. For me, Go is a conflict between my desire not to lose and my desire not to think.
One of my drivers is not to embarrass myself. So, but yeah, so consider the things and then look at the process, and your process is straightforward. Pick a move, any move, go around in circles and work out what's going on.
Yeah.
If you can do that, it's fine. Find any website, any set of books, and solve the problems. And the problems that are for end game, and the problems that are for life and death, and the problems that are labelled Tessuji because they're great shape and they achieve things, all the fundamental moves in those are the same. They're just used for a different purpose.
Right.
So if you're doing Tessuji, you may or may not kill a group, but you're still learning the right shapes. You're still learning the right things. That's the method. Practice regularly, read during your games, use the positions from your games. If you go back over the game and have a look at it, consider how you would play. Oh, there we go.
You found one more problem you want to do.
Yeah, this one had me going for a while.
This problem?
Yeah. And now where do you play?
As white?
Yeah.
Well, black's got 3 liberties. You've got 4, so...
He's got an eye.
Yeah, Buddy's got an eye. Yeah. Huh. Is it the honey?
Got to play there.
No, I was thinking more take, but it's not brilliant. Well, I didn't say there.
Well, you're in Atari otherwise.
No, you could take, but anyway.
So
no, that's all right. Don't waste your lives. Read it out.
So this is the right way to go.
Oh, okay. Then you got the squeeze. Huh. That is an interesting problem.
That one occupied my mind for a while.
Yeah, was it walking the dog you solved that one?
Yes.
Yes? You solved that one walking the dog?
I couldn't solve the problem. I had 3 goes at it. I thought I got it each time. And my move, I thought that once you played, you didn't play at B19, you played at D19.
Right.
But that all gets refuted because black has an eye and white doesn't.
Yeah, so you can't approach.
You can't approach. And so white can't kill. White can get a Seki, but white can't kill. And it says kill and no ko, which was a big clue. So I stuck it in my brain, and I solved it while I was walking with the dog.
The people, when they were walking past you and you had your eureka moment, must have wondered what the hell you were on about.
Yeah, but it comes back to the what I was saying about making sure that you can envisage the position. If you can envisage the position, then you can solve it.
Yeah.
So that's important to be able to keep it in your brain.
There you go, guys. So please make sure you practice your life and death while walking the dog. So first steps to buy a dog, I guess. All right. So as usual, I know Go problems are so you can play better, but ... Okay, very interesting as usual. Great talk, guys. So some good feedback today, which is nice. So thank you very much. If anyone has any ideas for topics, please get in touch. We are starting to scrape and get close to the bottom of the barrel at this stage. Fortunately, the contents on the bottom of the barrel actually are quite good at the moment, but if we keep scraping, we don't know what we'll get. So
I like something that people want to hear about.
Exactly. So that's
whether
the thing.
At the bottom of the barrel or not.
That's it. So we want to make sure it's stuff you want to hear about. So please get in touch and let us know what you want to hear about, what you want us to talk about. Thanks very much, everyone, for joining us as usual. And we look forward to seeing you next time.